Well, it looks like Suitcase Sarah has struck out again. Let's talk about the latest updates in today's video. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome to the sofa. My name's Paul, that's the pretend sofa, and guess what? Roscoe decided to let me hold him for this video since he's been eerily absent or hiding for the other ones. And that's his little owl back there. Now if you're new here, my name's Paul and again, this is Roscoe. Now what we're going to be talking about today is the Suitcase Sarah, aka Sarah Boone trial. This is a very short video, so I apologize. It's just a quick update. We're going to kind of do a quick little this is a 60-second story of how we arrived at this video, what the case is about, and then we're going to look at a few video clips so that we can also get there, because one thing with Sarah is you can't really talk about an update with her without looking at a few clips so you can get the whole picture, if you will. So let's go ahead and very quickly talk about the nuts and bolts of this case. So Sarah Boone and her late boyfriend George, they were allegedly playing a odd game of hide and seek at their house. Now this would end in tragedy when he would die zipped up in the suitcase. This is in February of 2020. Now again, it is alleged that she put him in the suitcase, left him there to suffocate, a slow death, a slow horrible death I can't even imagine. Now she would also be shocked during a police interview when the police were able to produce video of her recording him begging for his life in the suitcase while she laughed and mocked at him. She really didn't have much to say about that one. Now Sarah has remained behind bars. She's not getting out on bond or anything like that, and she has proven to be quite the difficult one to work with. Her trial has continually been pushed back over and over and over, and that is why we have gathered around the old sofa today to talk about the latest setbacks with Suitcase Sarah. Now before we look at some of these screenshots that I want to go over of the update, let's go ahead and just look at some video clips of the interview, the actual Suitcase video, so we know exactly where we're at, because I know we have a lot of new people on the sofa here at the channel. You might not have been following this one, so let's go ahead and roll tape.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah. Sarah. Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it up.
If you looked up the word wine, drunk, and slurring, like her audio would be next to that, right? Now what we just watched is the video that was obtained from her phone. I do believe that she thought she was able to delete that, but the cops were able to produce that, and what can you say to that? I mean, she's laughing at him while he's begging to be let out of the suitcase. She sounds completely smashed, and that was just a little clip of it, but I mean, again, this is the untimely end of life that George met with. You see how terrible it is. So now let's look at just a few clips, a few reminders of how the interrogation, or the interview I should say, went down with Miss Sarah. Now let's see what she had to say about this specific video to the people, the cops, interviewing her.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny, but you're the only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was, like, panicky. Like,
So pushing up on a suitcase saying, Sarah, 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 I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before, too, where it's...
Y'all, George had done that in the past. He got in the suitcase and then begged for his life all on his own. I mean, why are we even here, right? I love the investigators, or the detectives, whatever they're called, in this clip, because she's like so pushing on top of the suitcase saying, Sarah, 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 that's not panicky. Are we not making that connection? So there's that. Now what we also need to look at is what Miss Suitcase Sarah has become infamous for. And this was the one word that she would latch on to, okay, throughout this whole interview.
Do you promise and swear that everything we talked about today has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
For which...
True and accurate to the best of your knowledge.
What, that it wasn't intentional?
Everything you've said today.
Yes, but it was not intentional.
Okay.
Not intentionally.
You were trying to figure out what's going on. We're still trying to figure out what's going on.
Unintentionally.
I mean, y'all, I had to even break out my little cup over it. I mean, come on, y'all. I mean, let's just be honest. If you've got one, drinketh from the cuppeth. Now, let's look at one final clip before we get into the actual update. And this is just the cluelessness that she has going on here.
Why is this happening?
Because George is dead.
Because you jaywalked, sweetie. I mean, for God's sakes, why do you think we're here? What has been going on for the last 2 hours? Okay, so you've seen that, right? Imagine what she's like to deal with as a client. Now, we're going to look at some screenshots from, Vinny from Court TV. Oh, Vinny, how we love you. He did a very quick update on this, and this is about her trial being delayed again, and a letter from her to the judge, and that type of thing, and what her attorney had to say, and I was like, oh my God. Okay, will this ever happen, right? So we're gonna look at some screenshots to talk about it and do our usual. So let's go on and get the screenshotting. So on this first one we see here, it says, please see the included letter I received from my investigator communicating with me to provide an update on why we have been unable to meet since our last uneventful meeting with my attorney, Frank Bankowitz, on May 18th, 2023. Now it's gonna keep going here. Now, one reason I like to always show or listen to the way she talks and stuff like that is because I can never for the life of me, once you've sat and like watched her speak and go through this interview, I read everything that she writes in her voice because she writes exactly how she talks. Unintentional, you know, and like communicating. An update, you know, it's insane to me. So let's go on to the next little one right here. Now she said Bankowitz's client cannot communicate with him via phone due to him still not activating one of 2 numbers he's given me that do not work. And he keeps giving me different reasons why each time I ask to keep trying. This has been ongoing for 13 months and counting. I want to speak to the manager of this man, which is essentially what she's doing. She's gone to the management, okay? She's circumvented. She's gone to the manager of the whole town, right? She's gone right to the judge. Now, here's the thing, and I will say this, okay? I will give Miss Suitcase Sarah this. If she is authentically having this difficult of a time getting up with her attorney, because this has been her complaint through all these letters, right? Is that impossible to get up with, impossible to get up with. Well, you see how this goes. I mean, this is not just a her thing, right? We've seen these complaints before. And I agree. If you've not been able to have any communications on a situation like this, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? I mean, whether I care for the lady or not is aside from the point. This, you know, if this is true, I don't know how exactly true this is, because, you know, this has to be a recurring theme for her. I get people's numbers and they don't work or they're disconnected. I don't get it. I can't make the connection, right? All the way down to this, okay? So let's go on to the next screenshot. With the aforementioned being said, Judge Wayne C. Wooten, would you please be gracious enough to communicate with Mr. Bankowitz to supply the requested simple information my investigator needs, considering the number of days, weeks in between our meetings with him, and we can be working in the meantime until he is able to visit with me, his client of over a year now, adding to the soon-to-be 1 or 2 years. I can't really see what that says. I have been here already. So again, I mean, I can get the frustration if she's not able to get up with him, whatever, right? I mean, I get it, okay? But also, it's just, I mean, my God, I bet she's a prolific writer. Like, I bet she is burning the phones up. I bet all day this is what she does, right? I mean, what else does she have to do, okay? What else does she have to do? What else can I do, Your Honor? See, I told you, what else can she do? It seems my only hope is for a court date, which I included in, where my attorney's attendance is mandatory and I can vie for his attention during the minutes beforehand while in the courtroom. I'm sure all the allowed live cameras could provide footage of me doing so every time. Now remember, she's also pretty salty over the camera thing, right? She's a little bit salty over this and how much attention her case has gotten. Now my argument for that is, girl, you brought it on yourself, okay? Anybody who watches this case from start to finish, from them first approaching her at her townhome or whatever, when she's, you know, contacted them, he's dead, to the interview, to the whole, it is next level, okay? Of course it went viral. It's that level of BS. So let's go on to the next screenshot. Please enable progress, Judge Wayne C. Wooten, not hinder. Justice system, something means we have to work together. I've got the whole world incorrectly against me already. As stated by my investigator, we are at a loss without communication in any form with Mr. Bankowitz. Now, does this whole thing, I've got the whole world against me, is this not giving Letitia Stout vibes, right? It's always this very particular personality type in these cases that we see do this, right? And again, I've said this in other videos, but I'll say in this one too, where a very high expectation of others others to which they themselves are not willing to live up to, right? But they completely expect this of everybody else in the world, and it's absolutely infuriating. Let's look at the next one. Now what we have up here is a motion that the attorney then filed, and we're just going to look at this one screenshot that they put up. The defendant will not be satisfied with any attorney unless that attorney does not have a caseload and can dedicate his or her time solely to Ms. Boone's case. The undersigned has been in murder trials over the past 60 days and is presently defending a capital murder case in Lake County, Florida, which absorbs all of his time, including weekends. The best possible avenue is to have the defendant represent herself, as no attorney can satisfy her. I mean, can we get an amen? Can we get a louder for those in the back? Okay, he called it out, and I'm sure this is the case. She probably is blowing his phone up left and right, and he probably has to turn them off, right? Because remember, if he's a public defender or something like this, he's got a huge caseload. We know how this goes, right? And again, I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to be frustrated about that. I get that. She is, for whatever reason, taking this to trial. I mean, you know, that's a whole other video right there. So she's going to want the attention given to her. That being said, it is going to get saucy when this goes to trial, because we already know what his family thinks of her, right? She said it numerous times, like they don't like her, right? I don't think a lot of people probably do. She just doesn't seem like a very likable person, and I mean, just judging from the little video that she did of taking Jorge out via Suitcase, I mean, come on, right? So here's my thing. I've given up on this trial right here. I'll be like, oh, we're going to cover it here. We're going to cover it here. I mean, I'll still cover it when it comes out, obviously, but I'm not even looking to this to happen anywhere anytime soon, right? Anytime next year, maybe, right? Maybe if that. We'd be lucky to see justice for George at that point. Because I don't know how else this is going to go. Can you imagine her representing herself? Oh my God. It'd be a year-long trial. It might rival the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, okay, for just like, what are we watching, okay? Certainly in the same room with Daryl Brooks, okay? So anyways, that's it. I do appreciate it. Like I said, this is just a quick update, but a lot of people are like, Paul, have you seen this? Have you seen this? That's how I wanted to talk about it. And that's it. Let me know what you think. Do you think the trial will happen this year? I should do a poll and the thing. And if not, just drop it down in the comments. Do you think the trial will happen in 2023 or 2024? Just type the year, whatever you think. I'm going for 2024, right? It's already almost September. Well, you know, the court system's shut down basically into November and December. Like, they do these little quick trials and stuff like that towards that end, so you have October. I mean, they haven't been able to do anything, right, at all. And this dude's like, she needs to represent herself. They're going to have to get new counsel going into September. This ain't happening anytime soon. So anyways, I go with 2024. Thank you for still watching, or if you're still here, still watching, I thank you. Mr. Roscoe's still here. He says thank you. He says drop some stuff in the comment section for him. So yeah, Dad, that's right. He says that's right. Anyways, I appreciate you, Sofa Squad. I love you, and until we all meet down in the comment section to continue the conversation, I'll see y'all there.